Welcome back to the Red Dice Diaries, and in this first looks video I'm going to be looking at the Orbis Terrarum RPG by Simon Clements and Dan Voice. Now, I've kindly been sent a sample chapter of this to have a quick look at by Simon 50 Clements, one of the authors. The video on the Kickstarter, which I'll put a link to down below, is a dramatic reading of some of the introductory setting materials, and it clearly portrays the world of Uma, where the game is set, as a glittering jewel of a world set amidst a detailed and multifaceted cosmology. This first look is mainly concerned with the sample world detail first chapter that I've been sent. I'm really looking forward to reviewing the full project once I've had time to get my teeth into it and digest it all. With a game as rich and detailed as this, I wouldn't want to rush into any judgment and possibly do the game a disservice. The start of the chapter, what this game is about, does a good job of nailing down what the authors were trying to achieve. It's a gritty, low fantasy, swords and sorcery style of game that revolves squarely around the doings of humanity, eschewing the more traditional fantasy races, orcs, elves, etc., and focusing on a sometimes brutal world of death and glory. Chapter 1 details the world of Orbis Terrarum and begins with a summarization of the game's cosmology, working from outside inwards towards the main setting of the game. This really hooked me in straight away because it lets you know that the authors have spent a lot of thought on their setting, but it's not just fluff. They're very careful to illustrate how the movement of these celestial bodies actually impacts on the people and the lives of the people on Uma, which is the main world of the game. The chapter then follows on with some very evocative descriptions of the world's terrain, and the enthusiasm that the writers have for their subject matter really shines through in this section. And I found myself very much imagining the world as one of those great Conan or Krull-esque style worlds as I was reading it. And I think whenever any book conjures up images in your mind at this early stage, it's got to be a good sign for the rest of the book. Very positive sign indeed. The chapter then goes on to discuss the major human civilizations in Uma, and these range from the close-knit Batari battling against the harsh environment of the southern desert region to the Zamites, who are skilled riders inhabiting the savannah in great families called Cheerans. However, each year more and more of their young are lured away by the bright lights of the burgeoning cities in an attempt to settle down there and start a new life. However, as is the case with such stories, this rarely ends well. Each civilization description begins with a bit of icy flavor text or fluff, which does a really great job of summing up how the civilization sees themselves and the place where they live. It follows up with some more detailed information about the people and their homelands, along with the discussion of their métier, the essential core of their people. I'm not really sure how this is going to work in terms of the game mechanics, but from what I gather on the Kickstarter, this will be used to reward and promote appropriate roleplay, which can only be a good thing. And it also has some additional discussion of the systemic bonuses and benefits you receive for being a part of that group of people. I'm not sure how that'll tie in with the rest of the rules yet, because I've not read them, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. I believe, according to the Kickstarter, they're going to be using some form of percentage-based system that they've come up with themselves, and I'm eager to see how this works. In conclusion, the first sample chapter that I've been sent looks absolutely great, and it really creates this feeling of an interesting and detailed world. I really can't wait to get my teeth into the rest of the preview copy and do a full review of it. The artwork and the map work in the chapter that I've read is absolutely fantastic. It really adds to the feel of the game, which certainly seems to have extremely high production values, and an awful lot of thought and time has clearly been invested in creating this world and really attempting to make it jump off the page and bringing it to life. In conclusion, if you're interested in any sort of fantasy subgenre, particularly swords and sorcery, I'd certainly advise you to give this a look. And as I said earlier, I'll put a link to the Kickstarter project below. If the rest of the chapters are anywhere near as polished and excellent as this one, Orbis Terrarum could be one of the most exciting fantasy RPGs in recent years, and I really cannot overstate how much I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the book and doing a full review of it. So in conclusion, 2 thumbs thresh. Thank you very much for listening to this video. I hope if you've enjoyed it, you'll click on like and subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments box down below or on Google Plus or whatever we're doing now with comments. And I look forward to reading what you write. Thank you very much for watching and listening.